Boker Tov.
Boker Tov, Boker Tov.
In last week, also shared all stuff that was always strange. It says here, why? Why it just says HaKohen? Why shouldn't we specify the Kohen, Aaron and his sons? Everyone says the Kohen. There's no reason.
It's a good question.
If we say Kohen, wouldn't we know?
Because Eli is asking, it says in Parshat Negaim, "Uvar Aaron HaKohen ol achad mibanav HaKohanim." Every time, all the Kohanim are the same, but the power to decide or not decide, perhaps, is only by Kohen Gadol.
So
Otherwise, remember, as we saw in the Rambam last week, the concept of nega is not a normal. You realize it.
So you're saying by saying the and
It's
their children.
not only Kohen Gadol, any Kohen is the same. As a matter of fact, it's one of the only areas. What happened if the child is a child? We have no other Kohen but the kid. He's a kid.
Yeah, you can have the expert tell him what to say.
Correct.
Right,
So
yes.
זאת אומרת, if the Torah would not say Rachad Mibanav, we would think it's only Kohen Gadol. Now that you say HaKohen or Rachad Mibanav, it's any Kohen.
I see.
Any Kohen.
So if we just said HaKohen, we would have thought Kohen Gadol maybe.
Well, it's Kohen Gadol, at least an adult. You say all Rachad Mibanav, any Kohen.
Well, you say Banav, you're talking even a Katan?
Even Katan.
Even Katan.
The Mishnah says even Katan, HaKohanim, any Kohen.
I see.
But you are right that if and most likely the Katan really doesn't know, then the Gadol, the non-Kohen, tells him what to say.
Right. That was that whole thing from David. It says.
Right. This is what he said that he's saying Tehillim. So look a second on page 636. We read this with two Parshiyot. The way the parasha begins is a perfect example. The death of the children of Aaron was two parashiyot before. Was in Parashat Shemini, and here the Torah begins. Parashat Achrei Mot begins with Seder Avodat Yom HaKippurim. But the introduction to Seder Avodat Yom HaKippurim is וידבר השם אל משה אחרי מות שני בני אהרון וקרובתם לפני השם וימותו.
Yeah, I saw somewhere that this was the final, because they put next to each other, the death of his children was the final kapara, where he's now at this point he's totally clean and he could do the avodat Beit HaMikdash.
I mean, the Gemara learns from me that the same way Yom Kippur is mechaper, Mitat Tzadikim is mechaper, even though what they did is 100% wrong, but as people, they were Tzadikim. Look, analyze carefully the text.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, I meant the kapara for his Chet HaEga was final, complete.
Why should they die for his kapara ego?
I just told you the Gemara anyway.
Yeah,
The Gemara says the Gemara learned it from Miriam also. Yes. Look a second. וידבר השם אל משה אחרי מות שני בני אהרון. וידבר, he said something to him, correct? What did he say? The next pasuk begins ויאמר השם אל משה. If it's ויאמר השם אל משה, what he told him is written there. So what is וידבר? The commentator say here has to do a little bit of what Eli said. וידבר השם אל משה, what he told him here is that בני אהרון died because בקרבתם לפני השם. This is the message. But don't look on them, even though we had 4 or 5 explanations. And the pasuk said that they died because of Torah Zara, but you should know that they died b'korvatam lifnei Hashem. To show you what it means, what Ketoret and Yom Kippur means, it's an introduction. What Yom Kippur and the other, what Eli said is to comfort Aaron also. to realize the potential power or the opposite that you have. This is וידבר השם על משה, אחרי מות של בני אהרון. People say that it's a joke, but it's a real life. Say a kid went with his father to a cemetery, and he looks at a kid. He looks at the tombstone, and he says, "Everyone that dies is a tzaddik." I mean, did you ever read the tombstone?
Yeah.
They say, "Acharei mot kedushim." After people die, parashat kedushim, everyone. Did you ever see a young man being shot in Harlem? One of the brightest students, future stars, he's already dead. He did that matter.
Yeah.
No, but we are afraid to the person dies the way he is. Nothing changes after you die. We like to remember certain things, so we remember the good.
Oh, is there a chazal that says אחרי מות קידושים לאמור, if someone passes, we should only speak.
As a matter of fact, the halacha says the only time you could speak Lashon Hara, a dead man, is before he's buried after he died. When he's alive, you're not allowed to say Lashon Hara. After he's dead, he's buried already. The time between death and this is it. You have to know.
Between death and burial.
Mutar לדבר לשון הרע. It's not that it's a mitzvah to put the headline in the paper, yes? But reality is reality. Nothing changes after a person died. Now, reality,
So the eulogies are Lashon Hara in essence.
it's sheker, don't forget. Lashon Hara is one.
That's why I said it like, because I know how you feel about that.
You know the joke, the mother sitting at the funeral and they say all praise about the husband, says, check the box, see if that's him.
What are you talking about?
No, but no, but they don't realize the Shulchan Aruch says, David, it's bad for the mat, it's bad for the maspid to overdo it. Shulchan Aruch says, Misha, if you say too much, it's a lot of lamet.
The one speaking.
Yes.
Speaks.
Wow.
But Shulchan Aruch is adding something, and he says, "K'tzat, it's okay to a little bit over exaggerate."
What's that, 10%?
So the Taz,
Want Trump 50%.
the Taz, one of the main commentators, this is his language. Mali sheker gadol, mali sheker gadol.
Yeah.
He says something brilliant. He says like this. It says, let's say David bought this year at 12 for 150. Next year, a guy comes to you, David gives him an amazing at 500, 150.
Not John.
He says 175, 65. Means every human being has a button. If you press it a little more, it will do it. This is what you allow to say.
10%.
Says that this is exactly what the Taz says. What your estimation and the potential of the person, this is mutar. But this is
It's a little potential like that.
this analogy is a very important analogy. The Gemara says in Rosh Hashanah, what happens if on Rosh Hashanah when a person puts everything on a scale, it's exactly equal. Hashem pushes down. You know, it's a joke. But this is Hashem is saying what you didn't do, but it looks like you would potentially. Yes.
So why is the heter of that Lashon Hara stop once he's buried?
Because Be'emet,
But that's Gemara. Between that and that, you could still.
that's halacha. I think it's in Shulchan, but the point is, remember, most eulogies today is to make the Avelim feel good. And the Gemara says the exact opposite, yes? The Gemara says the spread is Kavod Amet, not Kavod Achai. Therefore, the man leaves a eulogy, don't eulogize me, but we don't. The Gemara says the buyer who is spread Kavod Achai or Kavod Amet. Now, if the man is, the man left the eulogy, don't eulogize me. If it's Kavod Achai, you have no right to prevent it from your family. If it's Kavod Amet, this is the halacha is. It's very difficult. But this is, David, you go to a funeral, Chodesh, and Chol HaMoed,
That was a challenge, when they're not permitted and.
Nobody,
That's why Rabbi Yedid said he will not speak at a funeral.
it's smart because he realized eventually you come into a situation where you have to spit in the Shulchan
He
Aruch.
never speaks at a funeral.
No, but this is the reason. Otherwise, you have to spit in the Shulchan Aruch. But this is it. No,
Because of that, because everybody is tzaddik.
this is A, but I'm telling you also you have to squeeze into a difficult.
It's not emet.
I remember a fellow that was Chavut of Chacham Yosef Rafuni's son died.
Yeah.
Terrible case. So the funeral was Chol HaMoed Sukkot. And the father was Chavut of Chacham Yosef. Last thing he could say, oh, he told about my son, talk about Musar, Chol HaMoed. The guy took his wife to give birth, the first child. And as they get to the hospital, just if the baby starts to come out, he turns his head and he went into a pole.
Oh my gosh.
The father died, he saw the baby and he died. So this was no, I'm saying Chacham Yosef was really tragic. Everyone was shaken. Shulchan Aruch.
Who went to a pole? No, it was you're thinking it's not Rabbi.
He's driving his wife.
It's the rabbi's
Driving his wife to give birth. And as they get to the hospital system, the baby is coming out. So he just turned his head. This second, he went into a pole. He died instantly, and the baby was born as the father is dead in the car.
Wow.
So in this case, he wanted to have a Chamisef said, no, this is, it's a message. There is a big question. Every year we know the story, but the question is, the Gemara says that Beit Din Shel Ma'ala are not punishing up to 20. A child over 13 committed a crime. There are two witnesses who got a warning. Is being punished. So the question is, so the Tzlach, the Noda B'Yehuda, and the big Yesod says, "Ein Beit Din Shel Ma'ala punishing the person under 20 is an average guy, but super people are being punished based on their understanding." This is the way that Tzlach explains why Nadav Avihu died. Nadav Avihu under 20. Why did they die? Because Ketorah is Onesh Shamayim, it's not Onesh B'Din. He says, Bekovatam L'fnei Hashem. Again, Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe acharei mot shnei bnei Aaron. Why did they die? Bekovatam L'fnei Hashem. Otherwise, because of their age, nothing will happen to them.
How do we learn that they're below their age? From what do we have a hint in the pasuk how old they are? They figure it out.
Because one of the things that Rashi says that they didn't get married.
Right.
People got married. The Gemara says in Kiddushin, everyone, even 1800 years later, got married under 20.
Nice.
So you're right. It's not before us in the text. It's not before us in the text. He goes so far to say that the children of Yehuda died also under 20. The Avera we know, but why would they die?
Yeah, sure.
It says only because the children of
At
Yehuda.
their level. I see.
Look a second. There is a sefer called Shach HaTorah. This is not the regular Shach. He says like this, look. ויאמר השם אל משה, דבר אל אהרון אחיך, ואל יבוא בכל עת אל הקודש. Everyone knows that Aaron is the brother of Hashem says to Moshe, speak to your brother Aaron, which other Aaron would Hashem say, says not to rely on the fact that he is your brother and to think he might be shielded. Says when you play with fire, regardless who you are, דבר אל אהרון אחיך, ואל יבוא.
Even though
Heads up.
Right. But as you know, there's a big chidush, but the Gra of Vilna brings Rishonim. Normally, the way we read this, we read it in Kippur, and we learn Hara Yoma. This is Seder Avodah in Yom Kippur. So, Bezot Yavo Aaron El HaKodesh, ופר בן בקר לחטאת והעין לעולה. The Gra says that theoretically Aaron could have come whenever he wanted if he brings the same korban. בזאת יבוא אהרון אל הקודש, it doesn't say ביום כיפור. He learns, בזאת יבוא אהרון אל הקודש, theoretically speaking, and Aaron felt that he wants to come in because of the special tefillah, whatever. This is very famous because there's no mention here, Kippur. We read it on Kippur because this is the ABC of Yom Kippur, Seder Avodah b'Yom Kippur, yes?
When it says Kodesh, it doesn't mean. the regular
Kodesh means Kodesh HaKodeshim.
So if Aaron or
Because the-
besides Yom Kippur wants to come, he could,
Right,
if
right.
he feels.
Not when he feels. When the Klal Yisrael is in danger, let's say before World War II, then Aaron would come to Kodesh HaKodeshim, yes?
And bring korban.
Not on October 7th because we know what happened.
So no matter when he went, he would have to. bring
If he
the-
knows, they say when he feels.
No,
When
no,
he
I'm
feels
saying,
during
like,
the Tuesday.
Circumstances
Right, but when
dictate.
the circumstances.
Says if
dictate,
once
yes.
in 10, 40 years, it was 40 years in the Midbar, it doesn't say that David he ever did it, but the concept is a very important concept.
But
At least, yeah,
if we would come other than Yom
Correct.
Kippur, he
Then-
would bring the
yeah,
bakar and he bring the.
correct. So he has to be the same korbanot. is the point. Look a second and 638. 638. This is a פרק ט"ז, פסוק ה' ומעת עדת בני ישראל ייקח 2 שעירי עזים לחטאת ועיל אחד לעולם. So the Gemara says that these 2 goats has to be exactly the same.
Twins.
They have to pay the same amount, or as David says, they have to be twins. So normally, whatever you learn, this year I saw something. I mean, I don't know if it's chat, but the message is a very good message. It says, in our day-to-day life, most of us, this is really across the board, we spend more money on our personal comfort than real mitzvot. The Torah says the 2 seirim should be the same. The one that goes to Hashem, the same should be the same as the one that goes to Azazel. You spend on your car, on your house, on your vacation, and etc. Make sure that the one that goes to Hashem, Shavim Bekomah Hashem. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. Of course, you have 2 groups of people. Some people do the opposite, but the Chokhmah is.
The concept that it's gonna be destroyed anyway, why should you do an expensive one, just let.
Right, don't know, but the Gemara.
Yeah.
You learn the Gemara, you never understand why.
Yeah.
Let's say Eliyahu Be'ara Carmel, if you remember, he took also 2 goats. He says to the Levei Abal, over there, the Gemara says, it tells the Levei Abal, you choose, right? Don't think I had a
Special.
left, I did something special to make sure that you choose, you take whatever you want.
Yeah.
Over there, you understand perfectly. Eliyahu is very smart. I know, who knows what the prophet did to the Seirim? What is the difference? One is dying, one is being offered. The Gemara says they have to look the same, they have to be purchased together, they have to be, the money should be the same. So the hidden message is also the Azazel.
This goat that's pushed off the mountain, this is clearly kapar, right?
It's a kapara.
Kapara. Why usually the korban is a kapara? Why now all of a sudden is this a kapara also? What's
Eli, hundreds of pages. This
I-
is the deepest of the Kabbalah. You learn 88 years, you understand. No,
Okay.
that's you.
Okay.
It's everyone.
all right.
Look at the Ramban. The Ramban says, Mission Bevin is a sword, Jelazel, whatever.
So this is one of those sod.
Sword.
Okay.
It's a big question.
Oh, exactly.
Judaism doesn't do it. We don't take No, it says. Seir is a goat.
Not a lamb, not a.
No. They say, all the Avodah of Yom Kippur. Look a second here. Look a second.
Do you know this area where they?
No, yes, it's not difficult to know. Look a second at 644.
When I was in BMT, they took us on a tour. Took us to a place south of Jerusalem, from that mountaintop.
Right.
You can see it
They
straight.
claim, yeah.
Well, that was about
They claim that that's, that there's
Pay
a.
the guy enough, he'll give you another month.
If you have a good tour guide, they'll show you the wife of Lord, they'll show you. Every tour guide, no, but in case of David is right, no.
This case is
Most-
legitimate,
Most people, no, it makes sense, you have to realize
the geography.
where they went.
Right.
Interestingly, the Gemara says, remember, it's Yom Kippur. One man is taking the goat. So the Mishnah says, the Yakirei Yerushalayim, the elite people of Yerushalayim, used to escort him until he got, not to watch what he does, just to make him feel good. And every few
company.
miles, they used to tell him, if you're hungry, here is a
Booth.
booth. This title, Yakirei Yerushalayim, is not written anywhere. Yakir. If you go to Yerushalayim, the highest reward, the municipality of Yerushalayim, they give you is Yakir Yerushalayim. Yakir means it's above. Says one of the very smart people. Can you imagine that when the goat is being taken, what takes place in Yerushalayim? The Kohen Gadol comes out with his blessing, the people, I mean, the highest moments of the holiday.
Right.
That's why maybe you read that Haftorah on the second day of Shabbat.
Thank you, Yishlama leaving.
This here with you, this is exactly what Jacob said.
Yeah, Yeshiva's name,
Yeah.
But you
Rabbi
understand,
Cohen, I think.
Yeah, Rabbi Yehuda Cohen.
few people are willing to leave all this spiritual environment in the area of Beit HaMikdash. Why? Because to make a Jew feel good. It's $1 trillion דבר תורה, אין דבר כזה, אנשים לא מבינים מה פה, the depth of it. If you wonder how the Kohen Gadol is giving blessings and you're in Beit HaMikdash, but there's a Jew out there that needs a little help. Go to him.
Wasn't the person that took, didn't you teach us the person that took this goat out? Had a limited lifespan, he was like, he had
I
a.
mean, in general, it's not that he was mild. Very often.
How is it designated? It's not random, it's
He
selective.
was a guy that always, he was like, I forgot what you told me.
Yeah, it's not me. The Gemara says it's very often the man used to die that year anyway.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's not a good item. They asked you to take the goat out, it's not a good
Who
item.
wants to get picked?
It's not because you took the goat, you died.
No,
Because
no.
you're supposed to die, the saint you this way you do something better. It's the exact opposite.
I don't know, Rabbi, I'm not trying to understand it.
Yeah.
Don't
Don't try.
try, it's better. So you think it's a spell, put a spell on him and
No, no.
No, but he didn't, did he know, I mean, he knew before.
he didn't know whatever selection he do.
The
Because
doctors
the
told
Kohen
him.
Gadol, they knew already. It's the exact opposite. People don't die because he happens to be in there.
The doctors knew he was gonna die within the year, so we gave him the zehut.
You know, I told you maybe that the Gemara says in Masechet Sukkah that Shlomo HaMelech saw the Ashmedai, whatever the guy in charge of death, Malach HaMavet, he saw him in a bad mood. He says to him, why are you in a bad mood? He says, you know, we are friendly. He says to Shlomo, you have to take care of two of your close secretaries, you have to kill them.
In the city, that's,
So,
I can't get him to
this
that
is in
city.
Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't get him over there.
Shlomo HaMelech played the
Sent
trick
him
on him,
away.
and sent him to Africa, and of course he killed him over there, and the next day he was laughing at him. He had to buy there, send him for the
I didn't know
living.
double sketch you.
I didn't know how I was gonna get him
But
there.
you hear this about Torah, it's the exact opposite.
It's meant to be.
You think the guy was in a bus in Yerushalayim, it was exploded, so he died. He was supposed to die this second,
In that place.
either in the bus, or the car accident, or the heart attack. Happened to be in the bus. The same as here. Dying because you're taking it.
No, I didn't mean that, but it's just something.
No, it's not, it's not.
Not great news when you get a guy gets a door knock and says, you're walking the goat. He has no idea he's going this year.
Mal, quit by your head.
Yeah. Let's not try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Whoever elaborated on it was wrong. It doesn't matter much. Anyway, look a second. There are many serious halachot we learn here. Look a second. The pasuk says here on page 644, it's Perek Tet Zayin, pasuk Lamed Aleph. Shabbat Shabbaton יילחם, והניתם את נפשותיכם. So the Gemara learns what is Shabbat Shabbaton. Yom Kippur has the same halachot as Shabbat, not like as Yom Tov.
Yeah.
This is why even the Rambam that does not bring the halacha to Sefer Shabbat, if you can start Shabbat early, even the Rambam, Yom Kippur, everyone agrees that Tosefet, yes.
Well, but he doesn't learn it from this pasuk. He learns it from
that's what-
right.
Yeah, but the same pasuk here, the same pasuk by Shavuot. If you look in, but this is what Shabbat Shabbaton. Look a second in Amor. Look a second in next week's parasha. Parashat Amor.
No,
No, that's three in a row.
no,
I thought I
no.
had.
And more.
Look at 684 a second.
I think that's what he told me.
It was in Italy.
Really?
Oh, yeah, you were doing that thing. with-
Look at Pasuk
It was in the
Tetvav.
conclave. They brought him there.
And I voted for the.
Look at Pasuk Tetvav.
You know, I heard the guy's not.
Vatican. Oh, listen.
Oh, Vatican.
Vatican.
Oh, I never heard that. Wow. That word.
Joe Manson.
Yeah, they took it from us.
I don't know.
Who knows? They took
No,
everything.
but can you imagine, forget now that people are electing
Yeah.
the leader of the, people are electing and everyone says, might be from South America, maybe it's from China, maybe Philippines, maybe that. This is the way you're elected. People buy it, and people, yes, whatever. This is, if you're raised to believe in something.
Yeah.
Look a second, look a second in Pasuk Tetvav. וספרתם לכם ממחרת השבת, ביום אביאכם את יום הרדיפה, פסוק ט"ו, page 684, 7 שבתות תמימות תהיינה, yes? This is the תמימות, this is why
That's why
to
we
make Kiddush and Shavuot, you have to have full days.
Yeah.
This is exactly the Bayom. This is exactly Bayom Kippur. Then it says, we'll go to 686 Bayom Kippur. Pasuk 28. בכל מלאכה לא תעשו בעצם כל מלאכה לא תעשו בעצם היום הזה, כי יום כיפורים הוא לכפר עליכם לפני השם, וכל הנפש אשר לא תעונה בעצם היום הזה, ונכרתה מהמר. וכל הנפש twice אשר תעשה כל מלאכה בעצם, מה זה twice בעצם היום הזה? This is בעצם היום הזה means, then the Torah repeats again, שבת שבתון יילחם, you see pasuk 32, שבת שבתון יילחם ועיניתם את נפשותיכם בתשעה לחודש. מה זה בתשעה? We fast on the 10th. Okay, so the Gemara says if you eat an Erev Yom Kippur, it's as if, but what the Torah is really saying is that the holiday begins on the 9th. This is Tosefet. The Gemara says in Masechet Tumah, בתשעה לחודש, begins from Tosefet.
But the karet doesn't start till the 10th, right?
Like the Gemara says, oh, if someone did Melacha on Tosefet, you wouldn't kill it because of that. Okay, look a second, there is a very important Ramban. The second half of the parasha is, of course, Parashat Kedoshim. Look a second in Kedoshim. Look a second in 662. You have 4 Rambans on the table. Look at 662. את חוקותיי תשמעו, חוק, בהמתך לא תרביע כליים. You cannot crossbreed two different types of animals.
662 the top.
שדך לא תזרע כליים, You cannot plant, let's say, wheat and grape. So remember, בהמתך לא תרביע, ובגד כלאיים שעטנז לא יעלה עליך. The Torah combines 3 types of creating כלאיים, as David said. So look at the Rashi a second. Look at Rashi explains it, את חוקותיי תשמורו ואלו הם. Those are the chukim. So according to Rashi, all the 3, which 3? Behema and the seeds and shatnez are under chok. We understand a garment. Comes the Ramban, and the Ramban, you have a Ramban in front of you. The Ramban there. Give it to me. David, opening Ramban, ויקרא פרק י"ט. This is very important. The Ramban strongly disagrees, but the Ramban says something that is teaching us how to. If you have, we have all the same books. So look at the top left. It should say Daf Tzadik Aleph, top left. את חוקותיי תשמעו, see the Ramban here, את חוקותיי תשמעו, ואלו הם, בהמתך לא תרביע כלאיים. חוקים אלו, גזירות מלך שאין טעם הדבר. חוק means, השם said so, we cannot explain it logically. לשון ראשי. Now Ramban disagrees. ולא הזכירו רבותינו שיהיה טעם נעלם, ושיהיה יצר הרע ואומות העולם משיבים עליהם. Says the Ramban, in different Gemarot, the Gemara never mentions about animals and seeds, that this is a chok, and the Gentiles are wondering. Ela b'levishat shatnez. Every time the Gemara says that the yetzer hara or the goyim are questioning, it's only shatnez. לא בכלאי הבהמה, ואין הכוונה בהם שתהיה גזירת מלך מלכי המלכים בשום מקום. Says the Ramban, I disagree with Rashi, and the reason why you cannot crossbreed 2 types of animals, כי כל אמרת אלוהה צרופה. רק החוקים הם גזירת המלך אשר יכול במלכותו. Regular decrees are בלי שיגלה תועלתם. אבל צירופה means 100%. We have 14 karat gold, 18
purified, refined.
Pure? Completely pure, yes.
Refined.
אבל מהררים אחריהם בליבם ומקבלים אותם ליראת המלכות. says וכן, if a king makes a decree, people accept it, deep inside they wonder. וכן חוקי הקדוש ברוך הוא הם הסודות אשר לא בתורה, שאין העם במחשבתם נהנים בהם כמשפטים. We benefit very much from לא תגזול and etc. אבל כולם בטעם נכון ותועלת שלמה. says the Ramban, I disagree with the Rambam on this.
Rambam or Rashi?
Rashi. The Rambam brings it also. והטעם בכלאיים, כי השם ברא המינים בעולם, השם created different type of creatures, בכל בעלי הנפשות, בצמחים ובבעלי הנפש התנועה, ונתן בהם כוח התולדה שהתקיימו המילים בהם לאט כל זמן שימצאו. השם created different creatures, and they have the potential ability to multiply and to continue as part of the existence of the world. וציווה בכוחם, והשם commanded שיוציאו למיניהם ולא ישתנו לעד העולם. This is the way Hashem wants the creation, שנאמר בכולם למיניהם. והנה, ציוות המשכב שנרכיב בהמות
This is a little bit of proof. This is an anti-proof against Darwinism. Darwinism says that creatures adapt. Ramban is here saying exactly the opposite. Everything's exactly how it is.
סיבת המשכב שנרביע בהמות זו אל זו לקיום המילים כאשר באים האנשים על אנשים, the same way men and women made to populate the world, because this is the way the world goes on, so are animals. והמרכיב, this, a man who takes two different species, and crossbreeds, משנה ומכחיש מעשה בראשית. כאילו יחשוב שלא השלים הקדוש ברוך הוא בעולמו כל הצור. It's as if he is saying God did not create a perfect world, ויחפוץ הוא לעזור בבריאתו של עולם ולהוסיף בו בריאות. Now of course you cannot ask, how come science discovers the potential of the world? Here we are changing, yes? מאמינים בבעלי חיים לא יולידו מין משאינו מינו. If you crossbreed, let's say, mule, you create a mule, you take a donkey and a horse, you have a mule, the mule cannot have children. וגם הקרובים בטבע שיוולדו מהם, כגון הפרידות מיול, יקרא זרם כי הם לא יולידו. So says the Ramban, it's a statement, I believe that Hashem created the world perfect. It continues, וגם הצמחים, אשר ירכיבו מין בשאינו מינו, אין פריים צומח אחרי כן. Which means you cannot, if you combine two types of plants, something might grow, but you cannot use the seeds, and יהיה בייסורם שני טעמים הנזכרים. וזה טעם, שדך לא תזרע כליים, שהוא בהרכבה. Interestingly enough, the gui is permitted to combine two seeds, not grafted by tree. Right.
Oh, that's mutar. The seeds are mutar, but the trees.
For goy, right, for goy.
So, Rabbi, in the case of donkey, it's clear they can't reproduce, and it seems that's the consequence of doing this. Are there other animal species that
Ramban says yes,
together that they can't reproduce?
I didn't check it, but the Ramban seems to hint it. Yeah.
So this was just one sign.
Yes.
And vegetation, if it's joined together, no, it's not permitted. It can reproduce in an imperfect way. Yeah.
Is a combination?
Yes, it's a combination of lemon and
Oh, wow.
But you see, the question is really,
But we're not doing it.
since both of them are citrus food, maybe they're in the same
Same species.
family.
And even, by the way, if it's done, we receive it, we're permitted to eat it. So now we're not doing the act. But it's funny, when the garment says, it shall not come upon you, because you're not making the garment, you can't wear the garment.
But by
But
fruit,
the
you
food,
could.
the food doesn't imply you can't eat it.
So, yeah, what is
Again, I don't know, just
Right,
straight
right,
language.
Is the
Mr. Google.
the only thing that you can't benefit from?
What?
A shotness
No,
item.
you can benefit, but you cannot wear it.
But like
You
if
can
you
sell it to goyim. There's no
right, but
There's no issue on goyim.
Yeah, if I have a store in an Italian neighborhood, it's 100% Italians, I could sell these suits, right?
Right.
And the mule, you're allowed
No,
to
but the
use.
Ramban goes in James. The Ramban goes strongly. I mean, in an unusual way to explain, because he believes that if you look at it, the universe as I created the world to serve people, and I gave you what you need. Yes, this is basically what he's saying.
But today's, they have male, female, and other. I
Okay.
mean, what happened here?
Okay.
But Reverend, don't they ask that question with Milah though? The fact that we do a Brit Milah is the fact that we do improve on the world, on things.
The Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim and many others are saying this is the point.
That's completing
There
the
is a
job.
machloket in the Rishonim. Is the Brit Milah making you a perfect person?
Completing the job.
This is the point. The point is the Rambam says openly, the Brit Milah is to make you a perfect person. If you remember by Abraham Avinu, it says, "Ithalech lefanai ve'et hamim ve'etna briti beini u'beinecha." Hashem says openly. Now at the end, look to
What's the
something.
other machloket? So one is that to make you perfect. What's the other machloket? What's the other side?
The Beit HaLevi says that this is why we have two brachot. Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu ala milah. The second bracha is להכניס, זאת אומרת, האם זה, the way the חקירה is, is a מילה, a mum, and
Oh,
you
I'm
remove it,
removing.
or you elevating, says the בית הלוי, it's both.
You're taking away bad or you're making it complete?
Right, ככה הוא אומר. So look now, look at the Ramban on the next page. Larry, look at the Ramban at the end. So remember, the Ramban agrees with Rashi that Shatnez really is chok. Says the Ramban at the end, וטעם כלי בגדים, להרחיק התערובת במינים, אוקיי. והרב אמר במורה הנבוכים, הרמב"ם writes in מורה הנבוכים, כי טעם השעטנז, מפני שהיה בזמן ההוא בגד ידוע, יודיס, לכומרי עבודה זרה בעלי הכשפים. Many priests who used to use witchcraft and sourcing, שבהם היו עושים כל מעשיהם. ואמר, the Rambam writes, you see David Davidson, the next page.
So they wore these garments on
Yeah,
purpose?
right there. ואמר, שמצא זה כתוב בספריהם, the Rambam says he read it in books from, לפי שהיה, you realize the Rambam is not saying simply not to emulate them, he says somehow, לפי שהיה עניין גדול ורצוי להם מאוד, שיפעלו בפעולותיהם הרעות לעבודה זרה, somehow those priests who were sourcing and said they have to wear.
They wore these garments?
Yes. He says, שיפעלו בפעולותיהם הרעות לעבודה זרה ולשדים, תרחיק אותו התורה מכל אדם, כי התורה תבוא למחות מעשיהם ולהכחיד. This is the Rambam. But you realize the Rambam is very consistent. He says it on many other mitzvot and averot. The Rambam says that the reason why you cannot shave with a razor is because the priest used to. Okay, so he brings him at the end and he says, I believe, Rashi believes there's no reason, but let's go back to the psukim. Let's go back to the psukim. I mean, I saw yesterday for the first time that the Rambam's opinion is also the reason why Peirot Orla, you know this?
Yeah.
Orla, the first 3 years of a fruit in Israel, says the Rambam because, kach omer Rambam, I saw this the first time, because the Goyim used to take the first fruit of a tree and offer it to Avodah Zarah.
Oh.
The Ramban himself says, the same way that you take yourself the first fruit as Bikurim LaHashem, the first way that your first son is Bechor, Sepidyon Aben, the same is Truma the Kohen. He says this is what Orla is. If for 3 years, says the Ramban, the fruit is not as good. I'm telling you, the next 20 to 100 years, science will tell us that all these tomatoes and all this stuff that science creates is perhaps one of the reasons why there are certain diseases in our generation. Because the Ramban says Hashem created the world the way. Anyway, look a second here. Look at the Shirim.
So Rabbi, is Olah considered a book, or we have it actually
Yes, I'm
documented?
telling you, so the Ramban says that until the trees grow in 3 years, the fruit is
not up
not
to its
as good as
maximum,
potential.
But almost to the point
But
where it
the
could be
real
harmed.
question I don't know if you're aware that the 4th year of a tree, the time of Beit HaMikdash, you have to bring to Yerushalayim, Hashem is Maaser Sheni. Hashem is Maaser Sheni. And he says the
That's interesting. The same word you use for Brit Milah is the same word you use for Nafreah.
Orla, this is the point.
But she calls it a stoppage, a blockage.
Right. This is exactly what the Ramban is meant for. This is why the Hasidim, when the kid is reaching which year?
Cut the hair,
30
years.
But after 3 years, they do the payot. Why? Says this is the time you are makdish the kid for mitzvah. The same way, the 4th year of a fruit is becoming kadosh. You take it to Yerushalayim. Look now on page 660. Oh, Larry, by you spell Yutet.
667.
Thank you, Ted. Pasuk Ted Zayin.
That's right.
ט"ז. לא תלך רכיל בעמך, this is simple לשון הרע. If you really read the Rambam, they are connected, it's in the same pasuk. לא תלך רכיל בעמך, לא תעמוד על דם רעך אני השם. Okay, so the Rambam that we saw more than once gives an example, yes? That sometimes because you speak Lashon Hara, he's using the example of Doeg Adomi. Doeg Adomi spoke Lashon Hara against David, and because of that, Shaul punished the people of Nob. Then, Lo tisna et achicha bilvavecha, I'm telling you the way the Rambam and Yad HaChazaka learns, don't harbor the hate to your friend, but hocheach tochiach et amitecha. Speak to him, tell him why are you doing A, why are you doing B. Velo tisa alav chet. This is exactly the way the Rambam learns it. Then lo tikom, don't take revenge. Velo tito, ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha ani Hashem. So how would you connect? You see the lo telech rachil be'amecha, lo ta'amod adam re'echa. We understand very often because you look down on people. This is why you would not lift a finger to save a friend. I mean, in a mother language. Hitler took power in 1933 and the war began in 1939. For these 6 years, every kid in elementary, high school in Germany had to watch movies how filthy and terrible the Jews are. Otherwise, you don't expect people to shoot babies. The minute you're looking at them as if you ever saw the movies, the psychology of those movies is brilliant. Yes.
Rabbi, why is it sometimes it says Ani Hashem Elokechem and sometimes just Ani Hashem?
It's a good question. They talk about it, yes. Very often the Ani Hashem is I know what goes.
Pareya.
I know what you're thinking about.
Yeah,
It says, when we talked at the beginning of the week about don't give bad advice. It says, Ani Hashem. I know what's in your heart.
Correct. You look again now. Lo tikom velo tito. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. So I saw yesterday, Sefer Darkei Musar. Something very deep. He said that let's say someone really acted terribly to us, and he comes to ask you to forgive me, and you know he's sincere, and you're telling him fine. I know and you know that we are human. And even if you said it, how would you really delete? How would you delete this? I mean, you cannot take it. I told you I had a friend. I was a junior. This is over 60 years ago. We were learning Masechet Bava Kama. We played for a big test. And I'm reading, and he didn't understand. And I'm explaining it again. The third, and I was a typical obnoxious teenager, and I really gave it to him. And then he says, "Excuse me." He goes to the bathroom. He comes back. I saw you this time. And I was obnoxious enough not to say I'm really sorry. 40 years later, maybe 30 years later, I remember it's Erev Kippur. It's around Kippur. Call my brother, it is. Can you find out his name number? I called the guy, David, 35 years later, 40. Say, Eliezer, yes. This is a Pinchas Proud, yes. You remember, in a second, you remember.
Remember it, wow.
Even now, I have children.
You exactly why you called.
I didn't have to explain the word. You remember?
Yeah, this is mine. 35 days.
He was laughing. I told him, do me a favor, don't laugh. Just
this is serious.
say, forgive me. No, but this is, so the question is that someone really did something terrible, and you're a good man, and he comes to you, forgive me, and you sincerely say, how can you delete, not say. Says the Sefer Darkei Musar, the only way is if you're doing something good to him. Do good to the man who did something bad to you.
Oh, that's how you delete it.
After, the only way to delete is by doing something positive, not only saying bad.
I had a different initial take on it. That one should say, it wasn't that person. Hashem had that person become the tool of what it was.
What you're
And
saying,
therefore you could say,
Right,
hey, listen, it's not,
what you're saying is
it was meant to be,
right, what you're saying is the Sefer HaChiyuv.
yeah,
But the Mesilat Yesharim said that you have to be an ancient
yeah.
to look at David, equals David HaMelech. When the man is humiliating David, Shimi ben Geran, Avishai wants to kill him.
Yeah.
David says him, don't do anything. Hashem amar lo
Yeah.
kaleh. It's very easy to give in a speech and say,
So you say he must maybe have some lingering feeling.
The Zohar says that when David says it, it became like Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov.
Oh, because
This was it.
how unique it is to be able to elevate
Because
the way it doesn't mean anything.
David really believed it. But to say it is in your mind. But your heart is your heart, you're a human being. How would you do it?
No problem.
Shabbat shalom.
Have a good Shabbos, Rabbi.
But normally the early morning is well, you normally